What's going on, guys? It's Greg Jones for Engine Builder. Today we're in Nevada, Texas, and we're checking out Thompson Motorsports and shop owner Kyle Thompson. He's been at the LS game for a long time, and these guys know how to do it right. So we're super excited to show you guys inside their operation and what they got going on. So let's go check out Thompson Motorsports. Come on.
No shortcuts, no substitutes, no compromises. Great racers and engine builders choose driven racing oil.
All right, guys, so we're inside Thompson Motorsports now. I'm joined by shop owner Kyle Thompson. Kyle, great to see you.
Yeah,
thanks
good
for
to have
having
you
us
here.
in. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all coming in. Yeah,
We're psyched to see the shop. You know, I haven't been here in person, but you and I have had a relationship for the last number of years.
Yeah, we have. It seems like we've worked with you quite a bit over the last few years. It's been a great relationship.
Yeah, we've done some stuff with some engines and some features and various things. So psyched to be here and check it out. I know you guys do a ton of cool stuff on the Chevy and the LS platform. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to let you kind of take the lead here. But before we start walking around and showcasing what you guys do here at Thompson Motorsports, tell the folks a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into it and kind of the history of the shop.
Yeah, so my background is actually Marine Corps. I came out of high school, joined the Marine Corps. After joining the Marine Corps, came out, and my wife and I started racing cigarette boats and really enjoyed it and wasn't having any luck finding anybody to work on them. So I thought, what better thing to do than start a shop to work on something fun. So we started the shop really just to keep the boat up and going. We got busy quickly and it hadn't run in 11 years. So you know how that sort of thing works.
I was just going to ask you, you're still
I still have it. It's still sitting under the awning and one day it'll run again. But for right now, we just kind of keep growing at a rate that we haven't been able to get back to it, which is a good thing.
Right.
So we started it with actually working on the cars, boats, that sort of thing. And it morphed into engines about 15 years ago.
Okay.
Once it turned into engines, the growth was so high that we stopped doing any kind of work on any customer supplied cars or vehicles, boats, anything like that. The LS line, at the time, there really wasn't many people building it. So we jumped into the LS line. Really feel like we got a solid grasp on it and just took off and ran with it. We've definitely been tempted over the years to push other lines, and I think at some point we will, but for right now I really like perfecting one and running with it. You know, like I said, we've got a really efficient process, a solid blueprint for getting stuff in and all the way through. So it allows us to build truly custom engines at a relatively high rate of speed. So right now and for the last several years, we put out about 500 motors a year, 550 motors a year on average. Some of them a little higher, some of them a little lower, but that seems to be about where we stand. And it's efficiency in our process that gives us, the accuracy to be able to build actual custom engines at that kind of rate.
Yeah.
So,
that's
which is
super cool.
it's a rare market. I don't think there's a lot of people in a market building a volume like that with accuracy like we do. Yeah.
Well, and obviously we're going to showcase exactly how you guys do that. But give the folks a sense for how big the shop is in terms of square feet and number of employees you guys have. These days.
So 20,000 square feet. A happy number for us is 20 employees. We're low right now. It seems that getting people in the current climate is kind of tough. So we've got a lot of people working overtime and putting in the extra to keep us caught up. But I anticipate we'll get back there. But that seems to be our happy place, 20 people and then the 20,000 square feet. When we started, actually, it started as just the building behind me. So we were 1,600 square feet. It was a 40 by 40 building.
Okay.
And you'll see as we walk through, we've got a bit of a Frankenstein building. We literally put it together one room at a time.
Yeah.
We're going to walk up in just a minute to our small parts inventory. That one we actually separated as a second building, and we did that to kind of keep a little bit more organization, and I'll show you that process we walk through too.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah.
And Kyle, right now we're in kind of your sales area, correct?
Sure, yeah.
want to talk about kind of how you guys utilize this space?
Yeah, so this is sales. When you call or email, this is where it's coming. The majority of our sales are done either over the phone or online. You know, we've got dealers in 50 states and 14 countries right now. So the volume of calls and also the difference in communication, you know, with having to work with some of the language barriers and all outside of the country, it makes it a lot easier to have everything central and have availability, you know, online gives us that ability to do some translating and try to work with others that maybe we do have that barrier with.
Yeah. Because you guys will ship internationally, right?
We do, yeah, and we ship international.
In the Middle East and whatnot.
I mean, very regular. Yeah, we've got, like I said, we've even got multiple dealers in a lot of places in the Middle East. It has gotten so popular that we've got a regular client base there.
Yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's enough of us talking for right now.
Cool.
I'll let you lead the way, and let's check it out.
Yeah, sounds great. Let's head up front.
What if your honing oil provided more precise results in less time on a cleaner surface with less wear on your tools? Introducing the first premium honing oil formulated specifically for engine builders and professional machinists. Honing Oil 10 from Driven Racing Oil.
This is the best honing oil that I've had. The cylinders are cleaner. They look a lot better. Even when we get ready to assemble it, the cylinders are still clean. I really do like it.
For more information or to order Honing Oil 10 right now, visit drivenracingoil.com.
So this is our small parts side. This is the side we don't really have customers ever in here. This is just our small parts organization. Everything that we do is on a cart, right? So to keep one customer organized from another, when the sale happens, we get the invoice that's got the breakdown of parts. We've got our empty carts that start turning into full carts. So you can see these over here.
Yeah.
As we turn them into buildable inventory, they move next door and then they get organized week by week. So we can kind of keep track of, what week each particular motor is due and where we are with the machining process to keep the parts in line with that as well.
Yeah.
But this is the beginning to the whole process. We have some items that are physical inventory and then some that are digital inventory to help us keep track of that. But it's a high volume in and out, so it's a lot of hits the shelf and a lot of parts will leave almost immediately.
Yeah. Well, especially these days, because you're probably having to wait on parts, so once they're in, they're right out the door, right?
They definitely do. There's a lot of parts that we order in big bulk, though. Most of our cranks, rods, blocks even, we're ordering by skids or containers, and that helps with the volume that we do is I don't think very typical of the industry. So we do have to bring in quite a bit. We even just our connecting rod orders, like I said, are usually 50 to 100 at a time to bring those in. And as soon as they start moving, we've already got more coming. Our blocks, we order several hundred dart blocks at the beginning of every year and have them showing up as they can produce all year just because we are really moving through quite a few of them.
Right.
So there's a lot of these items that are, they are just a constant rolling in and back out. Yeah.
Yeah. And are there a few manufacturers that you have a really good partnership with that
Absolutely.
You have constantly used, or
so
over the last couple of years, have you been trying, different folks based on availability? Or?
Yeah. So, Dart for our blocks, I think that's one of the really early on partnerships for aftermarket blocks that just worked well. The block works phenomenal. They machine well. They come in really close on tolerance. So we're truly doing finish work rather than all of the work, which is really helpful. And then the product itself is rare to have any kind of problems, which again is great. We work in an industry that when stuff comes in, we're used to rough machining and having to do our finish machine work here, which is exactly what we anticipate with it. But with some of the manufacturers that we've used in the past, they come in and rough means very different things from product to product. So there's a lot more, I'm going to almost say guesswork in what was finished and what wasn't. And we don't run into that with those. Another that we work with quite a bit is Frankenstein for cylinder heads. when we started, we were originally doing cylinder heads in-house. So we were running a five-axis. We were running our own programs, doing all of our flow testing in-house, doing everything. And while it worked well, we were just having trouble keeping up with the volume.
Sure.
We had a good sit down with Chris Franks and JD over there and talk to them about what our needs were. And now they produce basically all of our cylinder heads. So we've got several hundred sets a year. It's the same where we will place an order at the beginning of the year for our really popular stuff. And then we kind of adjust as it goes. So we've got just a constant flow of heads coming in from them.
Yeah, well, and we got a chance the other day to stop by their facility and check that out. And that was super cool.
Yeah, they've got a great facility and a great operation.
Yeah, it's neat to see what they've done over the years as they've continued to grow. So, yeah.
Well, cool.
Nice.
Well, yeah, so that's really all we have over here. I'll walk you back next door.
Yeah.
And then once we hit the shop, you'll see what we shoot for is a flow where once everything starts, it continues movement without ever having to work its way backwards.
Yeah.
And I'll show you kind of what that means.
All right, sounds good.
Everything that we do starts and ends here. You know, like I said, the shop is really designed to be a straight flow. So the carts are built next door where I showed you. They come here. They start to arrange week by week.
Yeah.
So we've got everything progressing forward for 5 weeks worth. This is our current week back here.
Okay.
So these will slide forward. And when it hits here, they're going in to actually build.
Okay.
And then we start the machine work in the back of the shop. So everything runs down the side of the shop. It starts the cleaning process outside. That's kind of our dirty area.
Okay.
And then from there, it starts into the machines back here. All of these blocks are things that we're preparing just to, you know, they're kind of halfway along the process waiting for something that we need to jump in on really quick. So it'll be, you know, a 50% finished that we can jump into and grab. And you'll see that a lot through the shop.
Yeah.
So balance work is done here. This is kind of the only thing that's out of the process because as they're being balanced, this really doesn't affect any of the other processes. So we run 2 balancers. We'll kind of bounce back and forth as to which one we're using on that day. But the idea with the balancers and a lot of what you'll see here is having 2 pieces of every equipment so that if we ever have anything go down, we've always got a second we can pick up with. We can actually run the entire shop and our entire production with half of the equipment we have.
Yeah.
But again, if we ever stop pace, we can't get that caught back up. So 2 pieces for everything that we do.
Yeah.
It starts really simple, so any kind of really basic manual work happens here.
Okay.
So you've got some of the, like the stock blocks that'll have a couple of holes for accessories that they haven't drilled from the manufacturer. Really simple, easy stuff. This is nothing more than plunge drilling and moving on. So we'll put it in. We've got a couple different fixtures to hold them where we need them, so that we can get it drilled to do things like air conditioning brackets, things like that.
Okay.
It's the same over here with the mill. The mill is not really a part of our true process as much as it is if something unique. We need to cut something or change something specific for that individual customer. And we try to get that stuff knocked out before it really gets into any kind of real machine work.
Yeah.
Everything starts with a line hone. We've got to get the main set first. You know, if we jump ahead and hit any of these processes first, if we have to kick back and change where the mains are, now everything's wrong about the rest of the block.
Right.
So it all starts here. Everything here is getting line honed and headed through. Once it's line honed, we've set, you know, our center for the whole motor, then they move over.
So here, Kyle, before we walk too far.
Yeah, for sure.
So how many blocks would you say you've got here? And then what's kind of the scope of work here? Is this a couple of weeks worth of stuff, or?
Well, we're roughly 2 a day, 2.5 a day. Okay. You know, for the shop to hit goal, we're 11 a week. That's where we need to be.
Yeah.
As far as the total we have, there's probably well over 100 blocks in process at any given time.
Yeah.
And they all stack up between different pieces of equipment. So I mean, really, everywhere you look, they're sitting in different places waiting to hit each piece of equipment as they move.
Yeah.
It's a lot that is in process to keep my builders moving.
Sure.
So there really is a lot there. But if you look, these with a green sheet here, anything with a green sheet's already spoken for.
Okay.
So if it's got a green sheet, it's already starting its book.
Yeah.
You know, and when our motors ship, you know, this is just the beginning of it. It's, you know, 5 or 6 pages. By the time they get done, when they ship, they've got 30 pages that go with them, and every machine that they touch, every machinist that touches them, every builder, everything that happens the whole time, they're getting data. So when it comes out of the box to start the machine work, we get data from what everything looks like before it started and then after. You know, when it goes in, we get, you know, the deck heights prior to and after, what we set them to and why, what we bored it to, what we finished honed it to, all the way through to the very end. And then to our builders, the parts that went in it are not only handwritten on their build sheet and signed by the builder, we've got the invoice to go along with it, and then the QC is verifying it all. So the green shows already accounted for. The others are stuff that we have in process, just knowing these are really popular. We know that they're coming up.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
No, yeah, with this many engines, you got to be documenting and
there's there's a lot. So we actually we're working on about serial number 12,000 right now. So you know, we've put quite a few through. Our database, we have several 100,000 pictures, and then I don't even know how many thousands of hours of video. So as we walk through, you'll notice cameras throughout. There's cameras watching most of the processes, and when everything ships, we've got certain photos at certain angles that have to happen of every single motor. All the video and photo evidence loads on everything that we do. You know, and that's how we're ensuring that all of our processes, we're never having anything that's missed, you know, and we do have a human error, right? So if you ever have something that is problematic, if we get a phone call that something was missed or something was a problem, we come back and review the footage and go, okay, how did we get to a point that we missed this? When you look around too, you'll see we've got SOP, you know, Marine Corps background. We've got an SOP, standard operating procedure, and everything. You know, we're doing everything by the numbers, so we can go, okay, the customer called and they had an issue here. Let's go back a step and look. Let's look at videos and let's look at the signatures and see how did we get from this step to this step and miss this process. You know, and then we can update either something on the QC sheet, or we can update and do some training different, or whatever it is to make sure that where that was missed never gets missed again. You know,
very cool.
In anything that you do, you're going to have problems. I don't have a problem with problems. I have a problem with two problems. You know, we will have one. We can't ever repeat them though. So the SOP and all the video and photo evidence and all the training we do, that's what we're doing it for, to make sure that when something comes up, we never see it again. So
makes sense.
So we work with TNS on these machines. This was our original. This was actually the first one that TNS built, Blueprint Center. We worked with them on programming it. They designed the machine. We told them what we needed the machine to do, and have been adapting the machine for well over a decade now. And it literally never stops. You know, 30 minutes before you got here, I was on the phone with TNS because we're adding another fixture to add another process that we want to be able to do to make the product better. After we went several years with that machine, we realized the machine was awesome, but there were some things that we wanted to add to it. So we came to this, grew it, put the augers in it, you know, added the shell to it. We really didn't expect to have to use as much coolant with some of the processes as we do. So we realized we were really making a mess with an open machine on some of the processes. So this was the second iteration. They actually both will do the exact same job. They both operate on the same programs. They both use the same tooling. Everything can go back and forth between them. This is just the, you know, later, stronger, nicer, better looking version of it. So, you know, this was really one of the first in the process of going, if we've got two of everything, if we ever have something go down, we can keep operating. And it worked well enough that we need to add this to everything we have in here. We need two of everything that we're doing. So you can see here, identical machines, but we've got different fixtures set up. So what we've got right now is one being blueprinted. So it's going through, you know, it measures the decks, goes in, and now it's cutting the decks. We've got programs in it that we can tell it this is what we need out of it. It can figure out the steps it needs to take to get it there. So it really runs pretty hands-off. This machine, again, an identical machine, but we've got a different fixture we can put on it. So we're quench cutting heads over here. So all we're doing on this is taken in and we're cutting down and giving more room. This is going on a billet Noonan block.
Yeah.
It's a methanol build. We need more room for fuel, so we quench cut to help with that little bit of extra room.
Yeah.
We can go in and do any depth, any angle, and any CC that we need. We've got a really great, easy to use program on it. You put it in, hit go, and let it run. And then again, what I like so much about it is if we somehow crash this and hurt it, I can take that fixture, set it in here, and finish the program here. You know, if we have a belt break or a chain break or anything, we can move back and forth and keep them both operating.
Yeah, nice.
So it works really well.
Very cool.
So from here they come out, we go to cylinder hone next. This is what we started with, so it was really a manual machine with a NASCAR bar.
Right.
There was a lot of manual operation on it. We moved to this machine. This machine, it takes a lot of the guesswork out. It really looks at what needs to happen and does it for you.
Yeah.
Still takes a little bit of manual control, but it moves a little faster, and then it gives us, again, the option of jumping back and forth, keeping two machines rolling. Yep. Same concept. We've got the blocks feeding all of these, so everything's moving around and just staying in line.
Yeah.
Just keeps it moving.
Nice.
What if your honing oil provided more precise results in less time on a cleaner surface with less wear on your tools? Introducing the first premium honing oil formulated specifically for engine builders and professional machinists. Honing Oil 10 from Driven Racing Oil.
This is the best honing oil that I've had. The cylinders are cleaner. They look a lot better. Even when we get ready to assemble it, the cylinders are still clean. I really do like it.
For more information or to order Honing Oil 10 right now, visit drivenracingoil.com.
I remember talking to you, again, something that stemmed from your Marine background is cleanliness.
Yeah.
And that every guy's station needs to be cleaned at the end of the day. And
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so definitely, it shows it's a clean area over there.
We fight for that, and I feel like that's an uphill battle that we're always working against. We're working in a metal building. We're machining dirty products, and we've got oils and machines. We've got coolant and machines. We've got, cutters throwing materials everywhere. We've got dyno running that's, we've got fluids coming out of that. Everything is constantly working against making a mess for you. So it's a challenge, we finish the day and everybody in this building at the end of the day stops and cleans their area before they leave. We've got to have that every single day. When we get busy and you let it slip for a day or a week, or you come in and realize that the shop turned into a mess quick and you really need to put some extra effort into getting it back. So we're as hard as we can be on everybody about making sure that every single day when they finish, they're ready to start again the next day with a clean work area.
Right.
So
well, it's like to your point, it saves you from having to catch back up.
Yeah, it does. And it it also, dirty work areas make for a lesser product. Mm-hmm. We're working with something that our tolerances are really tight on everything that we're doing. So if we take a block and put it in one of our CNCs back here, and you've got chips that are getting caught in between the plates on it, it's going to sit crooked. Mm-hmm. And when the machine goes and measures it, it can measure and correct for the crooked, but you don't want it to measure for the, to offset for the crooked, because the issue is cleanliness. It's not that the block is crooked,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of this that you can create your own problem just by not taking care of the work environment.
Yeah, for sure.
So
nice.
This here is inventory motors.
Okay.
As you can see, it is bare right now. We shoot to have 60 motors in stock. We've got 60 of our most popular.
Yeah.
That's what we keep in stock at all times.
Okay.
It's April, so beginning of race season, this is the time when it
just
all goes out the window.
Yeah.
So we will usually January and February, we are hammering inventory as hard as we can to build it. By the end of March, we're like we have not. I looked yesterday. I think we were 26 this morning at morning meeting, where 60 is the goal, and it's like now we're back to fighting through the summer to get it back built up again. But the shelves go bare sometimes. Yeah, kind of is what it is. It's a good thing to see the run on them, but I like having more on stock.
Right.
So like I said, this is our ready to build here. This is what is coming into this week, the stuff that they're actually working on to get out and ship.
Okay.
They roll in. our builds all happen in here. These are builds. This is QC behind me here.
Okay.
So they'll come in, get physically built over here. You know, just like I talked about, everything that's built has quite a bit of documentation that goes with it, so you can see all of the different sheets that it has built as it's working its way through, and then all of the information that he's added as he's producing it.
Right.
When he's done, it'll get signed, and then every builder has their marker. There you go. Every builder has a different marker. They're all color coded. So again, we can even come back to the pictures, and before we ever pull any of the documents on it, we can look and see who built it and who QC'd it. Great info, and then we can take a look up and check the cameras everywhere and see the angles that we've got on them, and you know, anything that has happened with them.
Yeah.
So that's another big one. We added that a couple of years ago. It's been really nice to be able to go through and verify, okay, all these are torqued, all these are verified by our builder. Now they're also torqued and verified by our QC.
Yep.
I like the idea of two separate individuals in two separate areas with two separate tools verifying every spec that's on that motor. Mm-hmm. It's really hard to miss something when you have two completely separate people doing everything.
Right.
So once it builds, it goes to QC. You know, QC is one of those funny departments from a production perspective. It kind of drives me crazy because I want to get stuff out.
Right.
But he takes the time and goes through. Ryan is really particular on these motors to make sure that nothing's missed.
Yeah.
So as they build, they'll line up here. This will fill up as the day finishes. Ryan goes through one at a time, moves them to shipping.
Okay.
Actually, everything here is moving into shipping right now.
Wow.
So we've got, you know, quite a bit that's moving over and getting packed to go out right now. But these are all going to be finished products headed over to get all of their pictures taken and get loaded into the crates, weighed, bill of ladings made, or go for pickup.
Yeah. Now, Kyle, what percentage of your builds, again, you're shipping across the country, across the world.
Yeah.
What percentage is even, you know, staying here in Texas or even here in the country, you know, out of those 500?
From a percentage, it's a pretty low percentage only because we have so many leaving. Realistically, I would say probably around 15 to 20% stay here in Texas.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we have a great stronghold in Texas, and when you look at it for the number that we're producing, it's still quite a bit here in Texas, but our volume's big enough that it makes the percentage look pretty small.
Right.
So we don't have that many people. We'll have one person a week show up and pick up a motor.
Yeah.
So it definitely isn't your typical walk in, sit down and talk with a customer, get to know them, and then have them come back in and pick it up. You know, like I'd love to have.
Yeah.
Just the nature of our business, most of the conversations are had over the phone or when we go to visit them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was just curious because I know, you know, you're sending engines everywhere. So yeah, very cool.
Everything moves back into here. They all go on the same gantry, sit in the same area. They all get the same pictures taken of them. They all load right here, and then everything goes out from here. The crates, you know, I think we have a really unique crate. There's not many doing the old school wooden crates. You know, most are the I think it's a blow mold plastic, whatever it is.
Yep.
And this has been something that we've stuck with for a long time that I really like. I think that so much of the excitement in getting something like this is, you know, it's the idea of the crate engine, going back to the wooden crate and physically pulling the screws out and opening it up, and the presentation of it, you know. So this is something that we have these crates built. We'll do it forever. It actually, my dad builds every crate that every motor we build ships in.
Nice.
Yeah, so, you know, it's kind of a cool deal. I think it's really neat. I think it's really fun for the customers. We get a lot of pictures back from the customers who use them. We've seen them turned into coffee tables, chicken coops, you know, all sorts of fun stuff because you got the logos around it. A lot of people will break them apart and put them on the walls, so you got the logo up there. You know,
And sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. This
is a relatively small one because I remember you sent us one to PRI a couple of years back that had the twin turbos on it. So obviously, you know, that was almost double the size.
Yeah, so our standard crate, this is our standard. It's a 24 wide.
Okay.
But we have them as big as 48 by 48 by 48. Yeah. So we have some of them that are absolutely monstrous. They're hard to handle, so we try to keep them as tightly packed as we can. When we built the crate, we designed the crate, and then we've got Moto Feet that builds all of our engine stands for us. We have it so that it mounts on the motor just like it mounts in the car. Once it's done, Moto Feet drills these holes. The holes are lag bolted through the crate, so it actually runs all the way down through the base and into the 4x4 in it to tie everything together.
Okay.
And then the lid is nothing more than a protective layer to keep things from hitting it while it's moving.
Yeah.
But the idea, and this has been several iterations, several changes. Initially we were building these, putting them in and strapping them to the base. We found that the shipping companies are pretty good at tumbling things. So when we were doing that, they could break the base and it would allow the motor to fall out of it. So then we started adding, feet to it and strapping. And now we've gotten to the point that we bolt to the motor, bolt through the base,
right,
and then strap all the way around it. And, we now are shipping all over the world, and we still have claims here and there, but we're like 4 or 5 claims a year.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you look at 500 motors going worldwide, it's pretty impressive how rare it is to see something get damaged in these crates.
Probably means something serious happened there.
When they get damaged, there's no longer anything around it. It looks like they were dropped from some pretty high forks and tumbled quite a bit.
Oh, geez.
So they literally have to break them off of them. So the crates work really well. I really like our design and what it has become over the year, and I still just love that.
Yeah.
That wooden look, we tried to make it look like a burned on logo and, just the really old school look and feel and smell of it, you know. So this is our dyno room, obviously the operator's area here. Got a good viewing window where we can see through. We'll have you a good video there. We can do, I think it's 2,500 horsepower. It's a dual brake dyno, so we can move quite a bit of water and stop quite a bit of power.
Yeah.
It's a pretty simple setup. It's got the ability to run fully automated tracks, so we can program things in it and have it run the throttle and the load as if it's on a road race course or something like that. But most of what we do is manual, so we can manually load it to get a motor through its heat cycles and braking procedure, and then go and do our basic, dyno pulls. We can, the nice thing about this type of dyno is I can do 100 RPM a second, or I can do, 2,000 RPM a second and really load or unload it, or just, doing a static hold. We get the airboats or, the big cigarette boats or something like that. And we want to simulate it loaded for long periods of time. We can turn them 6,800 RPM at wide open throttle and load it and just hang it there, like it's sitting on props or whatever we need to do. So it gives a really nice controlled environment to figure out anything we need to know about what we're building. LS oiling systems, they're always a challenge, right? So early on, being able to go in there and just wring their neck out and see what they're doing. Valve train, being able to go in there and test different components or whatever we need. It really gives us the ability to look at a lot.
Yeah, no, the engine dyno is a valuable tool for sure. Yeah, excellent. All right, guys, well, that concludes the shop tour here at Thompson Motorsports. Again, Kyle, big thanks to you for showing us around. It's awesome getting to see it in person. Like I was saying at the beginning of the tour, we've talked over the years, and I've seen plenty of the engines over the years, but it's cool to see the shop in person.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you here. I hope that we can get you here again and keep having fun with some of these tours. Second tour here, let's get a third and a fourth.
Yeah. I'm down. You don't have to convince me.
Right.
Well, guys, again, we appreciate you watching. If you do have questions for Kyle about Thompson Motorsports or anything that you saw on the tour, drop that stuff down in the comments and we'll make sure to pass it on. And as always, make sure you're checking out enginebuildermag.com for more great engine content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.